In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your lower control arm on your Mazda 3. It's located in the rear. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to remove our lug nuts to remove our wheel. Make sure you have a good hand on the top there, so the wheel doesn't fall off on you. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to take off this nut. This will probably start spinning, so then we'll get our 5mm Allen wrench out and hold that still. Now it's spinning. I like to undo it a little bit with my air gun first. Now I'm going to use my 17mm ratchet wrench on the nut and hold it with my 5mm Allen wrench. Ours is a little rusty, so we're going to tap it in there. I'm going to hold it still since I don't have a socket with an Allen wrench. Alright, set that aside. Using a 17mm ratchet wrench, I'm going to loosen up this nut, take it off. Once it starts spinning, I'm going to get my Allen wrench again. Again, if you have an Allen wrench socket, it'll probably be a little easier. I'm also holding my Allen wrench with another wrench. Our stud is spinning and my Allen wrench, it's so rusty that I can't keep my Allen wrench steady. So I'm going to knock out this bottom part and grab onto it with some vice grips. So now I can get my vice grips up there and hold it still. We had to heat ours up due to all the rust, and I'm holding it with a vice grip. I'm holding it with locking pliers underneath. After I got rid of that boot, all right. Now that we have that nut off, we can take our sway bar link out. All right, let's take this out. Using a pry bar. Now that you have the nut off on this one, we're going to release this sway bar off the link. Once that's off, now we can move our bar down so that when we release our lower control arm, it'll have room to go down. Alright, so I'm just going to pry down on my bar here to get it a little lower so it's out of the way when I drop this down. That's probably good. You're going to prop up your control arm here with a pull jack, or if you're on the ground, a jack stand. And now we're going to take out this nut. Before we do that, we're going to mock it for alignment purposes. You're going to make sure that you put this back where it was when you put it back together. So you're going to take a crayon, using a 17mm socket, and my air gun, I'm going to take out this bolt. try to tap it out. All right, so here's your bolt, and there's that washer we marked. Using a 17mm socket and a wrench on the other side, 17mm, I'm going to loosen this bolt, not take it out, just loosen it for now. All right, once that's loose, we're going to lower our pull jack. Do it slowly and gently, and this should drop this down and take the tension off the spring. Just have a hand here or near there just to hold it. I'm going to use a pole and just make my bar go down a little bit more. Once that's out of the way, you can lower whatever you're using down all the way to get that spring out and take all the tension off of it. So I'm going to get my pull jack out of there. Our vehicle's pretty rusty, so hopefully you don't have this much trouble. If you do, you're just going to have to work it back and forth, and it'll come out eventually. All right, I've worked it back and forth, and now I'm taking my spring out. I'm going to let that hang. All right, so now we're going to take this bolt out the rest of the way. Have a hand on the control arm. And that'll drop right out. Now we're going to transfer over our bushing or stopper here. So I put some penetrating oil on mine to get it off. I'm going to use a pry bar, take it off, and put it on the new one. Now we can put this in the vehicle. Now we're going to install our lower control arm. I'm going to line it up and start your bolt. Just going to get my bolt started through here. All right, once that's started, we're going to put our spring in. You want to position your spring between here and there so that it lines up with that bump in there and it has a stopper. Now I'm going to get my pull jack and we're going to start bringing it up. Make sure that you pass your sway bar, that it's not in the way. So as you push up with the pull jack, you're just going to guide it with a pry bar on the other end. Once you're lined up, you can put a punch through. You're going to feed your bolt through, making sure that it lines up with your marks. All right, we're going to feed our washer on there, making sure our line is in line with itself. And we can start our nut. I have the wrench holding my bolt still as I put this nut on, and I also have it all lined up where it needs to be. And now we're going to snug this one up. All right, so let's lower this down. And then we're going to put it over here and jack it up slightly for ride height so we can torque our control arm. All right, I'm going to put it at ride height and torque it to 60 foot-pounds. And torque it to 60 foot-pounds. Now that you have your link lined up and pulled through the hole for the sway bar, on the other side, you're gonna get this side in. So you're gonna feed, I would angle this up a little bit. You're gonna feed it through this bar. And then once you get it in there, you're gonna line it up on top. Make sure it's lined up. I'm gonna start our nut here. And then as you let this control arm down, it should feed it through as long as you keep it guided through the hole in the control arm. So I'm going to lower my control arm now. You may have to straighten it out a little bit as you go down if it gets hung up. You may have to give your sway bar link a little on the bar, give it a little whack, and that'll help bring that stud up. And then you can get your nut started on the top. All right, I'm holding my stud with an Allen wrench, same size. And the new nuts are 15 millimeter. We'll be torquing that after we're done doing the top. I'm going to torque these to 30 foot-pounds. You've got to hold your stud still as you do that. I'm using a crow's foot and my Allen wrench. All right, now you can remove your jack or whatever you were using. Put your wheel back on. Anytime you do any sort of suspension work, you want to go and get your alignment checked at your local shop. We're going to install our wheel. I like to walk my wheel on, starting with the bottom lug nut. And then tighten them in a star-like pattern. We're going to torque our wheel to 85 foot-pounds in a star-like pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.